The Bulls 146-115 winners over Los Angeles. LeBron finishes with 17 and 31 minutes. He, of course, had missed the 7 games before that with the groin injury. 146 points, if you're wondering, is, yes, the most loud by the Lakers this season. Afterwards, he was not really going to say whether he was fully recovered or not. But I'm wondering, Lou, we got only so much time left till the playoffs actually do start. Are expectations, concerns if he's not 100%?
I don't have a lot of concern. The only concern I do have is, the Lakers are 15 and 18 on the road this year. 5 of those games with Luka been in the lineup. They got a stretch right here where they got a ton of road games coming up. That's going to be my concern, how this team plays when they leave crypto. They're going to have to be able to weather that storm, especially if they want to maintain their position of having home court advantage right now. You want to be one of the top 4 seeds, but it can get dicey. They're a half game out from 5, and they're a game away from being in 3rd. So one way or another, this thing can sway for the Los Angeles Lakers. They got to be able to stay steady and get through these 2 road trips that they have remaining, at Pacers, at Magic, at Bulls, at Grizzlies to start, come home for a while, and then they got a back-to-back in Oklahoma City. So this can get tricky really, really soon for the Los Angeles Lakers. But as far as LeBron and his health goes, in year 22, it's proven what he can do, what he's been able to manage, what he's been able to do with his body. That's not a concern of mine. I'm more concerned with this schedule coming up for the Lakers.
Yeah, and the groin.
And stretch.
The groins. That's when Jalen Brunson had the ankle, right? I feel like that should have been less concerning because that's just ice, rest, proper games off. The groin is something that's like a hamstring, a calf. It can linger and turn into something much worse. So it is a little concerning, especially given his age and how hard he plays and the minutes he plays. But this is a team that we praised their defense for a long time now, and we said this is the number 1 defense. They gave up 60% from the field from the Bulls and 46 from 3 and 146 points. I mean, dude, rookie Matis had 31. Kobe White was going nuts with 36. So they were getting beat in all aspects on the floor. So they have to clean it up. They went on that stretch, and they were one of the best teams in the NBA when they defended. 146 points to the Bulls is inexcusable.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. There were a lot of jokes being made about the 146 points with Luka and LeBron and the defense and all that. And we did just finish talking about them for, a last week or 2 about, hey, defense has turned around. So how do you have such a lapse?
Well, I think the Bulls, they played great. The Bulls were super effective. They were efficient. They got out and down. They played super fast. They forced the Lakers to turn the ball over a lot more than they were doing, too, and they just couldn't get back in transition. But, again, this is a team that we have praised who's made that step, so we know it's there. We know the potential for them to lock in and defend is there, but they just have to do it on a consistent basis.
146 points.
It's a lot of buckets.
So many points. Taking a quick break here. On the other side, Tony Allen joins the show. See?
I thought for a second he wasn't going to show. I'll be honest, still don't see him.
Oh, no.
I don't
like this. I don't like it at all. Wait, how are our brackets?
Survive and advance. It's
trash.
St. John's killed mine.
I've been in last place the entire time.
I'm pretty close to it.
Did you have St. John's winning at all?
No, I had them losing to Duke.
But you had them advancing the Final Four instead of the Florida Gators?
Yeah, I was completely wrong and absolutely not great.
Survive and advance, the name of the game.
Tony Allen will be on the show here. I almost feel like I shouldn't say that out loud anymore. I'm just going to stop teasing the
I'd probably hold off on that.
7 seconds
Till he
before they
logs
get
on.
here. But we do have basketball from the league to talk about. We're going to start with a little Denver-Houston fun. No Jokic. This is the 4th straight game without him, by the way. But they do snap the Rockets' 9-game win streak. Jamal Murray.
Still got it.
Stop me if you heard this one before. 39 points, 15-28, 7 assists. Michael Porter Jr., 17-9. DeAndre Jordan had 11 points and 15 rebounds. They gave up 128 points in a loss to Portland on Friday. Turn around and beat a superior Houston Rockets team. So talk to me about what you saw and the ceiling for them.
Well, the ceiling, I think, is it's contenders. I think this team, we know how good their offense can be. We know what they're going to get from Jokic. But when you have this version of Jamal Murray, this is what people want. This is what you want to see, the aggressiveness with him. When he comes out, they're a completely different team. And I still think it's going to come down to their defense, which they have capable guys to be able to get stops even when the ball is not going in the basket. But when you're getting production like this, especially DeAndre Jordan, still 11 and 15, all this is positive things going into the postseason. You know what your main guys are going to give you, but when you have that balanced attack and you're getting stuff from Peyton Watson and Christian Brown, guys like that, Russ. It's a collective effort for this team because, come playoff time, these teams are going to try and stop Jokic as hard as that is to do. They're going to try and cut his water off. So you have to have these other guys step up. And in a game like this with no Jokic, they did.
I want to shine a light on DeAndre Jordan. We breezed past it, but there's still value in the vets, right? Like, you have a guy like Jokic go out, and then you give DJ an opportunity to play. He looks like his young self. Lob threat. He's catching dunks. He's catching lobs. He's blocking shots. He's rebounding. 15 rebounds. Like, that's amazing for this Denver Nuggets crew to go for. I looked at something that he put on Instagram that he said his body was hurting from all the dunking. But that's great for them. That shows the depth that they have, that they can go to their bench and they can get some reliable minutes out of guys. That's great for them.
Well, here's the good news, Lou. Mike Malone said that Jokic is expected to return at some point during this upcoming 3-game homestand that they have. Jamal Murray, as you guys have mentioned, coming in with the 39 points. Do you think perhaps, and maybe, with 12 or so games left in the season, that this little absence of Jokic is good for Jamal Murray?
I don't know if it's good for him. I think it's necessary, though. Like, he's played well. Look, he's had 11 30-point games this year. 8 of those games Jokic played in, so he's used to having big nights with Jokic in or out of the lineup. That's nothing new to them. But going into this postseason, you want your guys that's going to score the basketball for you to get you over the hump. That's a champion in his own right. You want to see him heating up right now, having that confidence. So whether Jokic is in and out of the lineup, Jamal Murray is going to be Jamal Murray. But this is great to see going into the postseason. I think this team got 11 to 12 more matchups left. So to see him having these big scoring outputs, you got to be encouraged by that if you're the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, and I just don't want to see his game shift when Jokic is in the lineup. You see, the team is 10-1 when he scores 30 points. That alone should show Malone, should show this team, we have to make a conscious effort to get him going early, and he's got to be the same guy, same kind of aggression. With Jokic on the court or not, because he is that good. And sometimes even with Jokic out there, he can be their best player. He is that good. He is that capable of erupting and going for 30, 40, 45 points in a game. So it is huge to see these other guys. You know what you get from Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter. By the way, DeAndre Jordan played 38 minutes.
Yeah, that's why he's hurt.
That's why his body hurt.
That's why his body
team
hurt.
high 38 minutes. That is
team high.
That is
38
unbelievable.
minutes.
So like the fact
That's
that they're
awesome.
still
Somebody got to do it.
Man,
good job, buddy.
It's unbelievable. But
Love that.
I mean, yeah, I do think this they need to make a point every single night from this last couple of weeks here this season to continue to get Jamal Murray his rhythm, because come playoff time, it can't just be the Jokic show. It's got to be a balance.
I think it's funny that the 9-game win streak that the Rockets were on was snapped against Denver, only because Jokic earlier in the season talked about how they had tricked themselves into thinking they were better than they were because of who they'd been beating. While the Rockets had most of their games, all of their 9 games were against teams that were under 500. So it's kind of funny that it's come to its full circle. Is that true then? Are the Houston Rockets tricking themselves?
I don't know if they're tricking themselves, but they definitely had a favorable schedule, but they handle business as a young team. You love to see this growth. You love to see this focus level where they don't have any let up and they keep their foot on the gas and beat teams they're supposed to. Now, do you want them to go out there and you want them to show that they can beat the contending teams and the great teams? Ooh. Yeah, of course, but to me, it's how do they respond right now? Look at their next 3 games. They win 9, they lose to Denver. Their next 3. Hawks, Jazz, Suns. Okay. 3 also very winnable games. So I can't wait to see how this young team responds, after losing to a good team. Do they come back with the same kind of mindset?
Interesting schedule they've got here.
Yeah,
pretty light schedule.
It's swinging their way. They're going to have an opportunity to do something special and stay in that 2 spot. So if winning 9 games of teams under 500 is tricking yourself, then I'd take it, because this is a team that slid to 5 and 6 at one point of the year after being in the 2 seed for so long, working their ways back into the position that they were in before that. So I'll take it. Sometimes that's the disappointment in the season, is leaving games on the floor that you were supposed to win or that you were supposed to go out there and beat teams. So to do that, that's an accomplishment in itself, not just beating teams that are over 500 that are playoff teams. That's also a challenge.
And obviously health is a huge issue. They're fully healthy. They're healthy, they're young, their schedule is light. This is all kind of great signs moving towards the postseason.
Right.
Yeah, there was a stretch there, but it seems like they're okay now. We've got a good one in Thunder out here in Los Angeles against the Clippers. They did not, of course, have Jalen Williams, no Chet, but they get the win. 103-101, SGA with 26 and 8. Aaron Wiggins with 19 coming off the bench. Kawhi, 25 and 10. And yep, OKC has now swept that series for nothing. We have heard, Lou, I'll go ahead and say I said it. That some players would prefer an OKC series.
Put an address on it.
Anonymous
I
players.
made it up. I'm making it up as I say it out right now. But obviously now, if you're the Clippers, you are not one of those teams that would like to see OKC.
Yeah, listen, OKC has lost 12 games this year, none of which have been the Clippers. 2 of them have been Minnesota. I believe 1 has been the Warriors, maybe 2 for the Warriors. So sometimes it comes down to the best matchup, not necessarily the best team. Like OKC has been the best team in the Western Conference, but there may be like a Minnesota. If I went out there and I got a couple of wins, and I like how our team match up against these guys, that may be a favorable one for me. That may be one of those things where we want to run into that fire. We want to run into those guys because we feel pretty good about our chances. Other than that, they've lost 12 times this year. There's not a lot of teams that's going to want to match up against OKC. So players out there saying that they want to match up with them, stand in front of the camera like Chandler and I and Beto do every day, and put an address on it. Put your name on it, say it, and say this is a matchup that you want. Other than that, we don't respect it.
And the West, you don't want to dilly dally and fall to the play-in and then have to play the Minnesota Timberwolves, Clippers, Kings, like that. You can't.
None of it's good.
Yeah, you can't mess with that because then you're all of a sudden you're 0-2 and you're in Cabo. Like, you know what I mean, trying to figure out which matchup works best for you. So I don't think so. We talked about, I think there was a series last year where if the Clippers, do the Clippers want the Thunder considering they already beat them 4 times? Like, you know how hard it is to beat them 4 more times?
No, because two of them were nail biters and 2 of them were blowouts, and it hadn't gone our way. So we were just talking about tricking yourself. That's tricking yourself. Yeah. I want to play the team that's beating.
They can't.
I was going to say, how is that your logic?
They're not going to go 8-0 against us.
That was your logic? The tornado can't hit us twice. No, yes, it can.
I'm just saying, you'd think they'd make some adjustments and figure something out, but I think I'm with you. No, I'm with you guys. I'm just saying that could be the flip side to it. But
if you're the coach,
this team has our number clearly.
Guys, they can't do it again. It's mathematically impossible.
No, I think I'm with you guys.
Yeah, I was on the other end of that. Like, I played for the Raptors. We were 4-0 against the Washington Wizards during the regular season.
Oh, no.
And we got swept in the playoffs. But no stretch of the imagination did we go into that series thinking, well, we're going to lose to Washington because we beat them 4 times. Like, no, they were retooled and they were ready. And they ended up getting the best of us in the postseason. But you never have that mentality if you're on either side of that. Like, I want to play the team that's beat us 4 times. You want to be the team that's 4-0, and you want that matchup. Yeah. It doesn't go the other way around.
Like, Clippers fans would probably be like, oh, no.
I think there was an East. There was like the East last year. It was like the Pacers beat the Bucks 4 times.
Yeah.
But it was like we felt the Bucks were better than the Pacers, though.
Yes.
So it's like, don't you almost kind of want that matchup? But now clearly this team has your number.
God, it's all jumbled up, too. Yeah, it's the having of the number thing. Here's also
you have no film of having success against this team. Why would you want them in a series?
Well, is it better to have film of success or film of failure and change the failure?
It can be both.
Yeah.
It can be both. But 9 times out of 10, you have a lot of film to study, good or bad. Yeah. But again, if you're 0-4 in those film studies, that's not something you necessarily want to watch. Now, if it's necessary and that's your matchup, you tend to look at that film a little differently when you're going into it in the postseason. But other than that, you don't even want to watch this film.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to either. Here's what else you don't want to watch is the fact that SGA was 7-29 and they still won this game. And so, Chandler, I don't know what the officiating will look like come playoff time, but does that concern you at all?
No, because he's 52% from the field and 37% from the 3, and he's been super efficient all year long, and he has the greatest ability in the NBA to get to the free throw line, which is where he was, I think, 11 for 11 this last game. So when you depend on the mid-range a lot like SGA does, sure, you're going to have some off nights where you're just not in rhythm, you're not knocking down shots, but when you have that skill to be able to slow the game down, get to the free throw line, kind of control the tempo of everything, I'm not worried about it, especially when he's a guard shooting all these mid-range shots, 52% from the field as a point guard. It's pretty insane. I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah, and I'm not going to convince myself that he needs the free throw line to be successful on the offensive side of the floor. You know, like Chandler just mentioned, he's extremely efficient on the end. You want to have that. You want him to have the ability to get to the free throw line as well to slow the game down for him and to get an easy, 8 to 10 points a game. But other than that, this is an inefficient night. Wasn't a great night for him, but he doesn't need the whistle to bail him out.
LeBron made his big return over the weekend. This is a weird score.